All right, what is up, everybody? So, Shell Scout 0013 here, coming in with a video featuring Cad Bane, featuring Austin Miller, and we are going to be talking about Cad Bane. So, I hope that you guys enjoy this because it was a wonderful interview, and Austin is such a great guy. So yeah, I'll just go ahead real quick and talk about the giveaway going on right now. There's a giveaway for a Veers expansion pack. If you obviously don't play Empire, that is fine. I can get you a leader unit of your choice, but yeah, whichever one kind of works for you guys. But there are three different ways to enter in to win that giveaway. The first one is to become a Discord member. All you have to do is head on over to the Discord and just start chatting away. We've got plenty of stuff over here that you can, talk about. We have, Empire lists, Rebel lists, CIS lists, Gar lists, CIS, or Shadow Collective. You're welcome to talk and submit any lists. Anyone who is new to Legion, Frost Delicious was brand new, and he, posted a few things that he was doing, and we kind of discussed a few different ways to play if you're brand new. So head on over here, and it is awesome. Also, if you paint and you really enjoy painting, if you're a commission painter, feel free to post your stuff in here. I want this to be a Discord where everyone has access to everyone's stuff because it would be a great way to just have a great Legion community. The second way to be entered in to win is to be a Clan of Shadows Patreon member. You don't necessarily have to be a paying Patreon member, but whoever is a Patreon who does pay, you do get entered in to win more, depending on what you enter in to be, and you at least get videos early on. I usually do my videos on Sundays or Mondays, and they are released on Patreon that day and then come out every day or each week on Thursdays. And lastly, all you have to do is be a YouTube subscriber and leave a comment down below in order to be entered in to win. And without further ado, we will go ahead and get into the interview with Austin. All right, what is up, everybody? So, Shadow Scout 0013 here, coming in with another video, this time featuring Austin Miller.
What's up, everybody? Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and today we're going to be going over Cad Bane and a few of, just a few different questions that I'll have for him, just because I know that you like to play him and you think that he's really fun. Um, and I know
Yeah.
that you mentioned he might not be the most competitive, but you enjoy playing him. And so, why do you really like Cad
Yeah.
Bane?
Um, it all starts with his three pip. Just I love to play mind games with people. Uh, Matter of fact, something we can get into after I kind of, divulge a little bit about what I like in terms of Cad Bane. We can talk about some of the different tactics I used this last weekend at the NATC. So if you're down for that, we can maybe go over some of that. But
Yeah, that'd be
I
awesome.
think the awesome. Yeah, I think my favorite thing about Cad Bane is three pip and just putting out the three Bane tokens. You you have you have a few different options when you're doing that. So you obviously have the option of divulge or not divulge. Um, Cad Bane currently is the only unit in the game that can start on a supply box and claim it and move. So, because his Bane token can be placed directly on the objective token, and it's not until after setup that he's revealed. And when he's revealed, he pops up in that spot. So currently, as it sits, he has an advantage on recover the supplies that not really anyone else has. Um, so having that sort of advantage can definitely help. Like I said, he's not the most competitive because he's been around long enough. People know kind of how to deal with him, what to do, what not to do. It's mainly what not to do against Cad, and that is shoot him with a bunch of small dice pools and just kind of charge him up with suppression tokens. Because once that happens, he's unstoppable. Um, but yeah, my favorite part probably just divulging his three pip. Um, even though there are situations where you would decline to divulge his 3-pip, and we can kind of get into that after I talk about why it's good to divulge his 3-pip. But you essentially are putting out 3 tokens. One of them is Cad Bane. It's where he actually is on the board. One of them is a bomb, which is solid, 2 red, 2 black, surge crit, blast suppressive, impact 2. So it's a very handy tool. You put it in the right spot, and a scout team gets too happy, moves too far forward, and you kill an activation and setup. So it's bomb's handy. Bane tokens also cannot be overlapped, so it, in an interesting way, may prevent things in Tempest Force from moving through certain areas. If you have a Bane token, let's say you have a bomb, and then you have his 3rd token, which is nothing. It's just his smoke and mirrors. You can actually use his Bane tokens to block off areas that vehicles may need to land on, so they can move through them, but they can't actually overlap Bane tokens. So that could be handy. But yeah, playing mind games is, I think that is the most fun aspect of Cad Bane. And if you are going to play Cad, I wholeheartedly believe it should be in CIS. You really need to leverage the perfect order control with reverse sorting your bag, and you'll probably have to throw in improvised orders there every now and then, which is okay. It's not the end of the world to have to pay 5 points to guarantee perfect order control every turn. But you really need to maximize that independent dodge too, because it just leans into what Cad wants to do. So, what Cad wants to do. Cad, in some situations, wants to be involved fairly early. You're always including a comms relay on them. If there's one upgrade in CIS, it's going to be comms relay, without a shadow of a doubt. I am of the belief that duck and cover and situational awareness are the next 2 must-have upgrades, simply because duck and cover just synergizes really well with danger sense, and it synergizes with what Cad tries to do. He can basically out of nowhere get heavy cover if he's standing near area, or light cover, or even if he's in the open, he can at least get light cover at the drop of a hat. So I do believe those 3 upgrades are pretty much must-haves. This is obviously talking in the confines of CIS. Not to say you can't play him in Shadow Collective or Empire. I think he has a place in both of them, but I think if you're really trying to make him shine, it's in Separatist.
Yeah.
Now, depending on go ahead, Paul.
Oh no, yeah. I just think it's. I feel like it's tougher for him to be an Empire and say yes because of the order, like control. You don't really have it with him, and
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you always want to kind of go last first with him if you can, right?
So sometimes, if your opponent makes a mistake, and so one of the games I played this weekend, I think it was the second game on stream. I wouldn't necessarily say it was a mistake, but it may have been a suboptimal decision to move to where he moved with his swoop bikes. It was like the 4th activation of the round. Cad was kind of hanging out behind a tree. We were on payload. He didn't really need to move anywhere. So I was just like, okay, well, I can kind of use this as a pseudo pass activation so I can, let other things go last. And he just popped out around the corner, shot the swoop bike in the open because he has sharpshooter 1, and then popped right back. And, he rolled below average, but in theory, it should have killed a swoop bike model. It only did 2 wounds, but you know, Cad doesn't always have to go last first. If the game is relying on him accomplishing something specific, then yeah, you're probably looking to last first with him on certain turns. Um, the one thing I like about Cad is he's very flexible. There's no scripted, you know, okay, I got to do this with Cad every game, rounds 1, 2, and 3, and no, you do whatever you want with Cad whenever you want. So, but yes, definitely using a last first approach in most scenarios, you'll see a lot of benefit with Cad. Um,
So so then do you
yeah.
don't
Any other questions on?
yeah, so do you like to make him your focus piece around CIS, or do you like to synergize
Yeah.
him with someone else who's a little bit maybe more important or less important?
So that is the $1,000,000 question. Again, because Cad is not the most competitive, um, you can make a solid upper C tier list that would be, it would be fun competitive. It's not going to win a tournament or, I mean, I did win 2 tournaments last year with Cad Bane, but I had a lot of situations that not necessarily the stars aligned, but I, I saw an avenue that doesn't always itself. When it does, then you can, capitalize on that. But um, I think you can go either way with him, and I think you adjust your game plan based on what is around him. I think so. You have Cad Asajj, Cad Maul. I wouldn't probably play Cad with Dooku just because there's not much synergy there. Um, you could maybe do some weird like seize the initiative on him just because Dooku has cunning, but it doesn't do quite what having like Asajj or Maul would do because the 2 operative tokens are actually big. Um, so Asajj Cad, I think, is probably the best archetype if you're going to play Cad, just because you actually have the threat of double bounty. Because Asajj, can choose to have bounty and reinforcements on her 3-pip. So I think Asajj Cad is probably I think that's a solid lower to mid B tier list. It's not the best list in the game, but it's fun and it's fun and still, playable. It's not like you're gonna, go to a tournament, play that list, and be so handicapped that you'll struggle to win 2 games. It's a solid 3-2, 4-1 list. Maybe, maybe you can go 5-0 with it. But again, a lot of things have to go right. So I think putting a more expensive focus piece with CAD actually opens up a lot of potential for him to just kind of run distraction. And I'll ask you this question. If the only option, right, let's say you got an Empire gun line, or, well, we're not going to say anything about experimental droids because that's, quite possibly the best list in the game, and experimental droids will just shoot Cad off the table. But let's say you're playing an Empire gun line, or a Rebel, or, a Pike gun line. If the only thing you can shoot at with all these guns that you're paying, so many points for is Cad Bane, are you not going to shoot at him?
I,
Or are you going to, try to maybe set up for the next turn? Or what would you do?
I would probably try to spend everything I could to shoot him to get him off the board because that's less command cards and that's just not a bounty anymore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, you kind of let Cad play distraction where sometimes, if you have an Asajj in there, now this is objective pending, can't do this all the time. This is not a let me this is probably the biggest disclaimer I will put for Cad Bane and anyone wanting to learn how to play him. There is no Cad template. I've never had a game with Cad Bane, either playing against him, playing with him. I've never had more than one game that I wasn't like, kind of shocked at, oh, I guess I could actually do this in this order instead. Um, Essentially what I'm trying to get at is every Cad Bane game is unique, and don't feel like you have to don't feel like it's scripted like an Anakin, where okay, I gotta go 3 pip and then 2 pip, or I gotta go three, you know what I'm saying? It's Cad Bane is very, very flexible. Um, but yeah, back to, his kind of distraction tactics. They they do have to deal with him, right? Like you're saying, okay, shoot him with everything, blow him off the board. Now that's not saying, okay, first activation, I'll double move Cad into the open and now shoot him with everything. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is you put your opponent in a position where you make them make tough decisions. Do I take this shot on Cad Bane, who hasn't activated yet, or do I like move closer to his army, and now Cad Bane can get either embedded into my army, or Cad Bane can start affecting my objective play? And you very much have to decide, okay, if I'm going for Cad, I gotta drop him in a round. Because if you don't kill him in one round, he will continue to be a nuisance until the end of the game. And so if you're playing Cad with a bigger focus piece, um, the list would look something like a T series with improvised, Cad Bane, with some upgrades, Asajj with some upgrades, probably one squad of Magna Guards, and then some repair B1s and a medic B1, and maybe an E5S, or maybe two or three E5S squads. That would be probably the best Cad Bane list that I would say. Now there is another one that used to be very good, but I think it has since fallen off, and I'll come back to that. But there is another list that I think is pretty good. It just struggles against a lot of the good things in Legion right now, so it's not seeing any play. But yeah, with Asajj Cad, you essentially want to use Cad as a distraction piece. Now, going back to the NATC, which was this weekend, the first stream game that I played yesterday, I actually divulged Cad's 3-pip. We were playing key positions on Hemmed In and I think Hostile Environment. So this is kind of the trifecta, right? If you divulge Cad's 3-pip, you really are looking to disguise 2 of the 3 Bane tokens. Okay, is this the bomb or the dud? Or is this Cad or the dud? If there's ever a situation where you could somehow pull off the trifecta, where there is not a clear understanding of what all 3 Cad Bane tokens are, if someone, like, essentially if your opponent looks at you and looks at where you put your Bane tokens and goes, well, I have no idea which one is the bomb. That is such a good feeling. And it's one of those subtle feelings that, you don't realize until you're in the moment, when you just see the confusion on your opponent and they're really trying to figure out, all right, which one of these is actually Cad and which one is the bomb and which one is the fake, because they're all 3 in a location that could very easily be all 3. And I actually was able to pull that off on the first stream game at the NATC this weekend.
Was there
So
like a specific
basically,
was there like a specific way on
go
the
ahead.
board that you placed them? Like, do you feel like you you kind of did it on purpose randomly, or like is like you put them across the field, uh, almost kind of like in the
No,
middle?
um, no. It was very calculated and planned. Um, in terms of, okay, we're on key positions, we're playing hemmed in. That's where his key position is. That's where the middle is, and then here's mine. I put a Bane token. He chose a large tree that was, pretty thick. It could block line of sight. So I put Cad's token touching his key position, or I'm sorry, I put one of his Bane tokens touching my opponent's key position. And my opponent was playing a Shadow Collect, basically the list that won Worlds. He was playing Ollie's list, which, spoiler alert, is a phenomenal list. um, but yeah, so I put one of Bane's tokens touching his key position. I put another Bane token in the light area terrain in the middle, which was the middle key position. And then I put another Bane token behind a line of sight blocker, um, within range 3 of the middle and his key position. And so at any point, he, based on the path he had to come from, at any point, any one of those tokens could have been anything. Now, I'm pretty sure by the end of deployment, he may have had a good idea which one the bomb was, but he went out of his way. He double moved a bus with Black Sun just to go look at what that Bane token was back by his key position. And what that allowed me to do was now play the range game and turn hemmed in into Long March, where I could now utilize all my long range weapons. And so I was effectively able to turn a deployment that is statistically very close, hemmed in, gets pretty action packed pretty quickly. Um, but by putting that Bane token over there, I mean, I didn't reveal Cad, and that was the whole plan all along. And so he kind of needed to figure out, is that Cad over there? Because if it is, and he doesn't reveal him and confirm that, and Cad just pops up on his back KP, and he's only got one unit touching it, that's game. And I can tell you right now, I would 100% leave Cad back. If he just never went to check it out, I would leave Cad back there for the entire game. Now, it wasn't actually Cad, but it was enough of a mind game that he had to check. He had to confirm it. So he did the right thing. It just bought me a little bit more time to kind of separate the distance between my army and his, so I could actually use my long range weapons. Now, we did run into a major time crunch. He had to make a lot of important decisions, and it took a while. So we only got through 4 rounds, and because time was such an issue, I had to just start moving things forward, kind of into his army, which is all close range. So had we gotten to play a full game, I would have felt much better about that. But no, it was still a fun game. Even though there were time issues, and it was. I mean, we had an hour left, and we still had like one or two activations each in the second round, and that's kind of when I looked up and I was like, hey, I think we gotta pick it up, and we definitely picked it up after that, but we had just taken too much time, deployment, and that's one thing that Cad does in deployment with all his Bane tokens is he does kind of make your opponent think a lot deployment. But again, that's kind of the tip of the iceberg of Cad Bane. Did you have any specific questions?
Yeah. So I don't know if you faced any Force users but I know that he might get close to some. Did you have any good ideas on what to do with CAD around Force users?
Well, Paul, I'm glad you bring that up. There is a very fun trick, and it involves not divulging his 3-pip. It involves just playing it normally, and what you do is you deploy him normally. Depending on what the objective is, if it's a center focus objective, or if it's hostage, or if it's key positions, or intercept, as long as you can kind of gauge where that force user is going to want to spend the majority of its time, you turn one, play Cad's 3-pip, you put down a Bane token. So when you don't divulge it, you only put one token down. And you put down his Here I Am. And you put it somewhere safe in your army. And then you just kind of slowly work your way towards wherever the force user is. And you actually want them to come get in melee with you. And if they do, you hit them with the Electro Gauntlets. They now have immobilized 3, and then you just withdraw from them at speed, or you move speed 2, because he can do that with his gauntlets. Once you do that, the next round you reveal his Bane token, and it's Here I Am, and he now teleports. So even if you don't exit melee, right? Like if it's not safe to, if you're kind of like, oh crap, I gotta stay in melee so I don't get shot. Well, guess what? Next turn, you are revealing his Here I Am token. He's teleporting back to your army, and their force user is sitting out in the middle of the board with 3 immobilized tokens, and nothing in the game is going to be able to move. And so
Man,
then
that's
you just
dirty.
kill their force user.
Yeah, that's dirty.
It is quite fun. Um, so in terms of being worried about force users, absolutely not. Especially if you're playing Asajj. If you're playing Asajj with Cad Bane, a force user is the last of your worries. What is your main worry is experimental droids, though. So again, that one list primarily is really what keeps Cad Bane and Asajj from being quote unquote really good. Uh, they're playable, but 7, maybe 8 times out of 10, you're gonna lose to experimental droids, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's you know, but we're not here to talk about broken lists. But yeah, that's a great tactic to deal with a force user. I mean, you know that's the whole entree. That is everything. That's the whole feast. Now, Cad's also he's not going to win a trade with a force user. So make no mistake, you do not want to be sitting in there with a force user in melee for too long, because you will eventually just die. He has the 2 dodges. About the only thing in the game that could kill Cad Bane in one attack. This is one attack. Um, is Ahsoka's 1-pip, Asajj's 1-pip, and technically Son of Skywalker, because Luke basically gets to attack twice, and it's one activation. So if you're playing against those 3, then you got to be careful. You got to be real careful. But if you can set up a situation where you essentially trade Cad Bane for a force user, that is heavily in your favor. If he has to die so you can kill Ahsoka or Luke or Asajj even, they are worth significantly more than he is. Um, so Cad's main job in this game is to kind of just be a nuisance, be a pest. um, and he comes in at a point cost that's fairly cheap for a quality bounty hunter. And you can trade up, if that makes sense. can try to set a trap for your opponent, and then they have to attack Cad, or they have to they kill him, but then they lose their force user for it, and you come out on top. But yeah, like I said, there's Maul actually on his 1-pip turn could also do some damage to Cad, because Cad can't spend his dodges. So there are force users you have to worry about for sure, but for the most part, they got one chance to kill him, because if they don't, never seen him again.
Yeah.
If if you play it properly. But yeah, that's trying to think if there are any other tricks. So it's not necessarily a Cad Bane trick. I mean, it works kind of well with him, but as you play more Cad, as you play against people that have, played against Cad a bunch, and they're, oh, I know what he does, I know how to deal with him, I'm not going to shoot him. There's a possibility if you play Minefield. People mainly don't shoot him because they know he kind of relies on suppression to do his tricks, and that's part of his defensive tech. So people will just not shoot him and just avoid him and go after other things. Well, if you play minefields, you can intentionally try to set off a mine with Cad. Now, if you don't, it's not the end of the world. You can try again, but like if you roll a plank or something. But you set off a mine with Cad, and then you duck and cover, and then all right, here's the attack, 2 crits. Okay, cool. Dodge 2 because I have situational awareness. Whatever. And you can hold on to that for the rest of the game. And because he has danger sense 3, the next time you go to attack him, he can duck and cover to gain that suppression. And guess what? Even I have had high velocity pierce shots coming into Cad Bane. All right, here's one, here's a crit, or here's 2 hits through cover, or here's 2 hits through heavy, down to 1 because of sharpshooter. So it'd be, like 1 pierce 1 coming in. Sometimes when you roll 4 white surging defense dice, you just roll 2 blocks or surges, and he's out there, just not taking wounds on white defense dice from a high velocity pierce shot. So managing suppression on Cad's always important. You also have other ways to give him suppression. You can displace him if you absolutely need to, which gives him suppression. I don't recommend it, because then they get to do a speed 1 with him, and maybe they could put him in a bad position. But yeah, the minefield trick is cool. You can intentionally set off a mine with Cad just to kind of spin him up, and that's pretty much the extent of it in terms of Cad Bane's tricks.
What about his 2-pip?
Recover the supplies. So his 2-pip, again, it leans into the suppression. On a KP, hostage, intercept, anything where move actions are important, just offloading all your suppression. I mean, you may get a game or 2 in a tournament where someone kind of falls into that and just shoots Cad Bane a bunch, and he's got 12 suppression, and then you play that card, and he's like, here, you have 3, you have 3, you have 3. He kind of turns into Oprah. You get a suppression, and you get a suppression. But your opponent's got to kind of walk into that one. They gotta kind of just try at that point to give you all that suppression. But if that's kind of your plan, and you know that they have no other option than to shoot Cad Bane, because let's say he has a box, or let's say he's scored a bounty, or he's threatening to score a bounty, and they start shooting him. If you know that's happening, you just, okay, you're shooting me. All right, duck and cover, take a suppression. You're like, why? You already have 5. I'll take a suppression. They're like, okay, get another suppression. Let's say they shoot you with 2 more things. Effectively, that's 4 more suppression. If you're already planning on offloading that suppression next turn, they're just hurting themselves. because you're about to give that suppression right back to them. So his 2-pip is a very good card. Again, though, you know, people have to kind of let you walk into that. So, I'm not gonna reveal too much about how to play against Cad Bane because we're supposed to be promoting our boy here, not exposing his weaknesses. But
Right.
if you just know what Cad Bane does, um, that can help you deal with him. But
Now, I know that you were
actually,
mentioning about recover the supply. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
no, 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 you're good. You're good. Good on recover.
Oh yeah, no, I remember you were just about to mention something about recover before I asked you about his two
Yeah,
pip. I think.
yeah. Um, so recover the supplies is I would say unanimously across the community, across everyone I've spoken to, recover the supplies is Cad's best objective. The fact that he is the only unit in the game that can start on a box, claim it, move, um, does speak volume. Well, Yoda and Chewy can also do something similar. They just can't start on it. They can, Yoda can do the 2-pip and move Chewy up, with a guidance, and then put himself in the base with the box, and then Chewy double moves away. But that takes 2 activations to do. Whereas Cad, he's already on there and ready to go. Now, do I recommend doing it every game? Absolutely not. Just because you can do something with Cad doesn't mean you should. I've seen many people do that with him, and then he gets fire supported in one shot. So, and most of the times it's people that don't have a comms relay on them, or they're playing him in another faction. So there's you have to put the pieces together to be able to to use the tool effectively. It's not a hammer that comes out of the box ready to go. You got to kind of fit the handle on. You got to kind of adjust it a little bit. Make sure it's got a good weight to it. So you do have to do a little bit of setup and maintenance with CAD. You can't play CAD the same in the other 2 factions that you can play in Separatists. You just can't. Uh, so that's why I personally believe he's best suited for Separatists. Um, so on recover, you actually got a couple options. You can do the standard, okay, put him on the middle of the box. Your opponent probably is assuming that's that's where Cad is. Or you can get real tricksy and you can put a Bane token on one of their boxes, and you can put a Bane token on another one of their boxes, and you can put a Bane token on the middle box. And with that being the case, depending on where your army is, I would still recommend, even if you can get shots on their army turn 1, I would not necessarily recommend putting Cad's Here I Am token on their box. But just the fact that you're doing that makes them have to reconsider their options. Because one of them is a bomb, one of them is Cad, and one of them is a dud. So the fact that all 3 are in locations that could be any of the 3, um, you're gonna see some steam coming out of your opponent's ears. Um, that's that's for sure. Now, again, I don't recommend doing that against things with large dice pools. Let's say that's a recipe for a dead cat if they can shoot you. So, in terms of recover the supplies being his best objective, it's not an auto win. Uh, it gives the CAD player a huge advantage, but it's not an auto win, not even close.
Well,
Aside from that, good.
no, no, no. Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, aside from that, uh, Hostage is fairly good with Cad, depending on the list you're playing him in. And so with, I don't know, probably the Asajj, Magnus, uh, Hostage is a pretty good objective as well for that list. Vaps is actually sneaky good for Cad, and you can actually play Vaps with Cad, not at 800 points. It's not ideal. You have to, evaluate everything else going on. But another little trick you can do on Vaps with Cad, if they have, let's say thin activations, what you can do is you can bomb their VAP, and then you can put Cad somewhere within a move or a double move in range 2, and you could potentially try to kill an activation as they're trying to go for their VAP. And if you do, well, now they've got to come to you, and now you can really dig in and set up your defense. And as soon as they come out from where they got to come out from, you start shooting them. So VAPS is another sneaky good objective for Cad. Intercept is okay. Key positions is okay, but I find there are probably better things you can do. Now, let's talk. Or payload. Payload's another one. Payload's okay, just because you have bounty. You can maybe afford to, let your payload get stalled one turn in an effort to try to get a bounty that turn. And if you get it, well, then not only are you now up on points, but you're, tied on victory points. So, you can kind of wiggle room and payload. So the other Bane list that I would recommend playing Cad and triple steps. So Cad triple steps is an interesting. I'm not gonna say it's the best Cad list, but it's an interesting list because you effectively have 3 objectives that are really, 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 really good for your list. You have recover the supplies, bombing run, and breakthrough. Does it kind of make sense why those 3 objectives are pretty not an auto win by any means, but you are really setting yourself up for success with those lists?
Yeah, no, I understand that because the bombing run with the 3 staps is really good. Recover the supplies with Cad, and then breakthrough with the staps is also pretty good. Plus, you could probably get close to 11, maybe 12 activations depending on what you're adding upgrade wise.
Sorry, what was that? It cut out briefly.
So I know that you'd be able to do bombing run really well with the staps because they're going to be able to compulse move and then double move after that, and then you got breakthrough, which
bombs.
Yep, you got breakthrough, which they can either kind of stall for a little bit and then really make it through. Plus, you could probably get quite a bit of activations between 3 staps, CAD, 6 battle droids, and a T series, and that's not including upgrades. And you're still got at least 100 points left. And then with recover the supplies, CAD's also going to be really good at. So I'd say those at least.
Yeah, and on recover, you can also. I mean, the staps aren't contributing to the objective, so guess what they're doing? They're just their job that game is to try to kill some of their box carriers. Try to go after their box carriers and just really put the nail in the coffin. Now, all that being said, that list gets torn apart by commandos and EXD. So hence why no one is playing it.
But it used to be a really fun list to play, and I really enjoyed it. There were some versions you could even fit a Magna Guard squad in there as well, but the Magnas are eh, neither here nor there. They're kind of just a you know kind of a force user hedge. They're like a like Cad and Magnas can probably take on a force user, but they are more points.
Yeah, I know that
Uh,
Cad and Magnus. No, I do have right now just with like 4 battle droids having the PK series droid, 3 stabs. You have a Magna Guard with just the RPS, and then you've got a T series with
mhm.
comms, and you've got Cad with the same build that you really like, and you still have a 7 point bid with 12 acts.
Yep, yep. That's that's it. That's the list. 12 activations. It's something. Um, you're not going to win any gunfights. Let's just go ahead and be real there. You're not winning any of the gunfights, but what you may be able to do is out objective the other lists. So that's the 12 activations really.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think droids do really well with the high activation lists. Except, I mean, I know with EXD you can't quite get as many up
Yeah,
there, but
yeah. But you
yeah.
don't need to. I mean, you've got so much firepower. It's not even close. I mean, when you have commandos effectively forcing almost the same amount of saves as a clone fire support shot with Pierce, that's pretty rough. I mean, every average EXD shot is 6-7, before aims. That's that's through cover. Like it's not nothing. So, the fact that those lists exist, it's really gonna keep something like CAD triple stabs from, being what it wants to be or what it could be. But if anything ever happens to those two lists, I would say anyone wanting to play CAD, try out the triple stabs list because it's really good.
Now I know that you have been mentioning this a little bit today, but you are coming back from ATC right now, the Chattanooga tournament,
Yes,
and you
sir.
said you also had spiders in there with Cad Bane.
Yeah. So not. I'm gonna preface this. Not the greatest list. It's okay. I'd give it a solid. It's not a failing list. It didn't fail. It just, when you start playing against the really good players, it certainly felt like a handicap. And it had potential. The idea was I would take Ion Spiders, Cad, and Magnas to try to deal with EXD, try to deal with armor, things like that. We anticipated some Dark Trooper lists. We anticipated some ATSTs. We anticipated experimental droids. We anticipated AA5s with shields, and Ion is effective against them. However, the issue in dealing with AA5s is people are starting to play the reckless driver on them. And being able to triple move with your bus is a problem. So even if you ion, right, you have to, you have to get them double ion to not be able to do anything. Well, if they have the reckless driver, they can still do the compulsory. And sometimes that's just enough. And not to mention they have a second bus. So uh, that's kind of, if anyone wants to see how that game shook out, uh, check out the 82nd Legion stream from this weekend. Because I actually played against uh, the Ollie Worlds list. I played against Joe Hicks on stream. So definitely check that out. Kind of see how that went. I think if I had had a little more time to work, I may have been able to drop both of those buses before they got too close. But once they got close, there was nothing I could do because they had comms jammers, and that just completely shut me down. So, um, again, it was a it was a fun game. It was an interesting matchup. Uh, I would not recommend trying to replicate this list, especially not for a solo tournament, because this was within the confines of a team tournament where we kind of got to pick and choose one or two of our matchups. And with that being the case, it it kind of allowed us a little bit of flexibility.
I feel like it seems like a very fun list, and I know you said you've been on a fun Legion list building
Yeah,
kick.
yeah,
Uh, what what
yeah.
also does that kind of include? Like I know, like with fun, what what kind of stuff are you looking to build when you do fun lists?
Honestly, um, for me, I think fun is probably relative to everyone. I have, when I'm in, like last year, you had the, okay, got to go get it, got to chase a world's invite. Okay, now I got to chase a free flight in a hotel, and there's actually something on the line here. Got to be serious. That was still fun, but it was fun in the sense of, all right, I have to try the best, I have to put my best foot forward, and I have to be competitive. And I have to make sure that what I'm playing can stack up against, everything else that's out there. Uh, Fun in terms of, going to a team tournament. Uh, hey, I got this theory I want to try. I've just been itching to play Cad Bane. I've been really thinking about it. I haven't gotten to play much Legion lately. I want to get Cad back on the table. What can I put around him? Okay, here's how we can deal with experimental droids or armor. Put some ion spiders in there, throw an RPS Magna, and then kind of fill it out, and just go. All right, let's see how this does. And it was fun for me to kind of test a theory, you know. And the theory was, in a team format, can you play a suboptimal list and still do well and help your team? The answer lies somewhere between yes and yes, but don't handicap yourself if you don't have to. you know, uh, and that is kind of what I felt, because in the matchups where the Ion was useful and it was just it was a little over the top. I would have been fine if it was just impact, not the added ion. And conversely, the experimental droids also don't really have a way that they can get, if you have one list with ion spiders, it's kind of hard to pin experimental droids in a situation where you can actually get matched up against them, because they're not going to first choice go, all right, I'll play the Ion guy. No, they're going to play something else unless whatever else is just so horrifically bad into experimental droids. Then they'll play you, Mister Ion. But,
Well,
but
do
yeah,
you have any other upcoming tournaments?
I do. I'm doing Lone Star. So Lone Star is next weekend. I'm doing Gen Con. Then we have Crucible, which is down in our home turf of La Florida. So we've got
Yeah, I
that going on
can't wait to
into
see you there.
September. Hopefully, yeah, yeah. Hopefully, I can get there a day earlier than I want to and just kind of hang out and you know, that'll be the fun. And then we gotta the next couple tournaments are gonna be I'm gonna be in a little bit more serious mode. In terms of all right, not gonna handicap myself with with this list or that list or you know it's gonna be all right. Got to get back on the horse. So I'm
And,
definitely looking forward to Lone Star. Anyone that can make it out, I would heavily encourage you to do so. It's such a fun event. Zane puts on an awesome Legion tournament, and all the social stuff he has planned too is awesome. There's some cool places we go to, and it's just a fun time. Zane is one of those irreplaceable Legion community characters. There will never be, nor has there ever been, another Zane. And just for those of you that haven't met him or have only messaged him on Discord. I haven't met him in person. He's a blast to hang out with, and he's running Lone Star, and we definitely need to support him and all that he does, because he puts up a lot of prize support for his attendees as well. I mean, last year he gave away a Shatterpoint starter. He gave away a bunch of Legion expansions. He gave prize support out the wazoo. So I'm really looking forward to Lone Star next weekend. Somewhere in between Commandos and Yoda, or Commandos and Obi-Wan, the Fury Road list or experimental droids. So kind of just in between on which one of those three I want to play. But I'm going to get some practice games this week and just kind of lock that in.
I personally am interested in the Yoda Commando list that you might be playing, because I've tried to make myself a few different Yoda Commando lists, and I'm not gonna lie, I really enjoy Delta Squad. I know that they might be a little expensive, but they're way more mobile.
Yeah, you if I'm not sure, have you met JJ Warkitect?
So I've messaged him and talked to him, because I know that I saw he did a Yoda triple commando one had Delta in it. I think at Rocky Top, and when I had talked to Kentucky Dan, I know that he had also mentioned JJ, and that's kind of when I was talking to Kyler or Chris, I was actually asking him about JJ, and he kind of told me to message him. But that list looked very interesting, and one of the first things Kyler had mentioned was, I bet you he didn't have very many kill points, and I looked, and he had like just a little amount of kill points, but he came in fifth, and he did really well overall.
JJ is a very experienced Yoda player, and winning that many games with so few kill points, he knows what he's doing. At the end of the day, this is an objective focused game. Very few objectives does it just matter, okay, how many points did I kill? If all other things equal, if one person plays the objective better than the other, but the person that didn't play the objective as well just tried to do a bunch of killing, 9 times out of 10 they're not going to win. And JJ is a master of that, is being able to win on the objective and lose a couple squads here and there, or not take too many casualties, but also not dish out too many. So yeah, I'm intrigued by Yoda Commandos. I like the survivability of Obi-Wan Commandos. They just seem unkillable. And I've played a few practice games with them, and I've never been able to play a unit that I can just stick in the middle of the board for the entire game and they don't die. And with Kenobi, that's like you have to run medics, but with Kenobi and medics, oh man, that is some spice.
And do you think Padme would fit well into that as well?
Yes and no.
Or sorry,
I
Chewy.
personally, Yoda Chewy. So that's basically JJ's list. Yoda Chewy, triple commandos. I have my reservations about Yoda and Chewy, just because I can't tell you how many times I played a Yoda Chewy game and I don't know, some random shot came in on Yoda. It's like, okay, 3 after cover. All right, 3 blanks. Or it's 3 after cover and protector and whatever. Okay, 3 blanks. And it's like, whoa, wait a second, what just happened? Well, Yoda lost over half his health in one measly little shot. So I've always, I don't know, I'm not a Gar is probably my least played faction, but from the outside, as a non-Gar main, I actually think Gar lists need to, or let me rephrase, typical clone ball lists, clone with, more guns, or clones with a hero, or something to that extent. I have always believed that you need medics in the Republic. And I think you need at least 2 of them just to help offset some bad dice variance,
Oh yeah, completely agree with that. I like bringing 2 to 3 myself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think medics are just so handy. I mean, you're paying for those red defense dice. You really got to lean into it by, if nothing else, the medics help offset your dice variance.
Yeah, but I'd be very interested to see what kind of what list you're experimenting with for Lone Star, and I'm gonna make sure to
Yeah,
keep an eye out.
yeah, yeah. Keep an eye out, and Yavin Base will be streaming from there, so that'll be Dave's first game back after a while. So it's just going to be a great time, and so all of your listeners, hopefully they tune in and check out Lone Star. It's just going to be a blast. Really, it's one
Yeah,
of
I'll
my
make
favorite
sure.
tournaments.
I'll have to try to post the Yavin Base stream into the Discord for people to be able to
Yes,
watch.
yes, yeah, yeah. And I don't know, who knows? I might end up on there again, and I gotta figure out how to defend my title. I've been unsuccessful in 3 of the 4 this year, so I gotta keep this one. I gotta keep one of them. So we're gonna go back to the drawing board, figure out what's gonna give us the best opportunity to do that.
Yeah, and I think I had one final question for you, and I wanted to ask.
Yeah,
I know you just played in a team tournament, and I know that you went overseas to play for the U.S. in a team tournament.
yeah.
Do you like team tournaments over individual, or kind of like do you have a way of explaining the difference and for people who've never played teams?
Mm. Oh man, I that's like ah man, it's a tough question. That's like asking, you like cheeseburgers or pizza? I love both of them. Uh, I I do think the team tournaments are more fun. They can be just as competitive, but even more fun because there is a level of camaraderie that just it's just not really able to exist in the solo format, because at the end of the day, you're going to root for your buddies, and your buddies will root for you. What happens when you play your buddy? Then you're root for each other, and the team format is, I mean, we all the tournaments I've done that are team formats, we've the night before we've stayed up and we're like, all right, what's our game plan for this? What's our game plan for that? All right, this, that, whose list are we putting down? Okay, what are we doing if this table? There's just so much conversation to be had about the game, and it's a whole new element of list building. It's just a whole new Allegiant experience. I would absolutely recommend someone that has never done a team tournament go to the next one you can, and then go to the next one after that because you're going to want to. But yeah, as matter of fact, I would say prioritize a team tournament with people it's more fun with your buddies. Um, Prioritize a team tournament with people over a big solo tournament trip. That would be my advice. Just try it. I promise you will not be let down.
Yeah, I hope that they have that at Crucible, and maybe I can try to find a few people to play. And but yeah,
Yeah,
that's awesome to hear. I'm excited to that these team tournaments are kind of popping up a little bit more. But
yeah, yeah. And as they should. It's. I mean, I was even talking with Will Pagani at Worlds about it a little bit, and I don't think AMG will ever run an official AMG team tournament, but they are all for it and they love the idea of it, and they'll support it. I don't think they'll ever run one themselves. There won't be like a world's team tournament. That's kind of, being handled by the overseas, the World Team Championship is run by Dave Nolan, which I'm looking forward to hopefully going back again this year. I think they just announced it's in Sheffield. So once they announce how many teams each country will get and how many players can be on each team, I'm hoping they do five per team, and then you have one player per faction. Because that would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot for being here, man. I appreciate you talking about CAD and about the tournaments. It's great to hear what you're doing and the different CAD strategies.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I love it. I'm also down, to some of the other units I play a lot. I'm down to come back if you want to have me, and we'll do it again. But till next time, take it easy and good luck. And I'll make sure to shout it out on the Fifth Trooper blog as well.
That'd be great. Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
man.
man. I hope
Well,
you have have a safe trip. I know you're driving.
yeah, we're almost to Florida. It's been a haul for sure, but Atlanta was the main roadblock, as to be expected. But I'm about 12 miles from the border, so almost there. Almost there. We're getting there.
Nice. Yeah, I'm from the Atlanta area, so I know how congested it is.
Yeah, it gets to be a lot, but yeah, man, I look forward to seeing you and Crucible. I think probably the next time we'll link up, and there's gonna be a bunch of fun to be had at Crucible. So looking
For
forward
sure.
to it. All right, man. Well, I'm gonna get back to driving and just kind of vibing out to a Star Wars lo-fi playlist and thinking about the next Legion moves. So
I will let you get back to it, and thanks a lot, man.
sounds good, Paul. Take care, and I'll see you around
Yes, sir. Peace.
later.